Our mechanized forces in a nearby village are having a really difficult night. They are facing a determined attack by East German armored units. Those have already managed to capture a hill on the right flank of the defending force. The village is now cut off. More enemy armor is reported to be on the way. If the defenders do not get help right now, they are in danger of being overrun. Our platoon of M60A1 tanks is being rushed forward to destroy enemy units on the hill and relieve the flank of the village's defense. Hello there, and welcome to a new episode of GHPC, where today we will be playing with the American-built M60A1 tank. And we'll actually be playing with a more advanced version of the M60A1, with the RISE package and the AOS package already installed. So what that means is that this thing will have the add-on stabilization, so it will have a stabilized gun, and the RISE package gives it a little engine upgrade. So those were some modernizations that were done to the tank, but next week we'll be playing the M60A1 in Steel Armor Blaze of War, and there we will have to play without these additions. It will be the bare bones A1 variant, so no stabilization on the gun, which will make things much more challenging. But yeah, what about the M60? What kind of tank is this? It's an American-built tank. They developed this tank specifically as a counter to the Soviet-built T-54 and 55 tanks, and this tank, when it had to face those Soviet-built tanks, performed really well. It's a tank really built for the Central European battlefield, trying to stop a huge Soviet invasion. And it's a really capable tank. The armor is good, the gun, a 105mm gun, really good, really powerful. There's an account of a T-72 being engaged by an M60 during the Second Gulf War, and a round from this thing just went straight through the tank, in one side, out the other. So that's really amazing when you think about it. Of course, the ammunition was probably a different one than we'll be using today, a much newer one. But still, the gun, for that time, absolutely great. The tank itself does have a few shortcomings though. One is the huge size of this thing. It's really, really large. This thing is 3.2 meters tall from top to bottom. It is 3.6 meters wide and 9.3 meters long. That's huge. If we would put a man next to this thing, I think his head would be going to about here maybe. Oh well, not quite that bad. Maybe something like here. Imagine that standing next to this thing and having to look up like this. This thing is huge. It's really big. And what else is there? Well, another big drawback is that this tank, at least this variant of the tank, the A1 variant, we do not have a laser rangefinder. Instead, we have a stereoscopic rangefinder. It works with these lenses on the side of the turret. Here's one, and on the other side is the other. These lenses, each one of them produces an image, and when you are in the targeting system in your sights, you are trying to overlap those images. At which point they overlap, that's when you have the range dialed in. Let me show you how that looks. So, we go in here. Let's say I want to range... Let's take this target back here. I activate the rangefinder, and now you see that everything becomes a bit blurry. I'm now dialing in the range, and as I'm dialing in the range, the mirrors in those lenses are turning by tiny fractions and projecting the images onto basically one lens. And when both images align, that's when you know you have the range dialed in well. As you can see, it's not something that is super straightforward or easy to do. But this looks good. Let's confirm and fire. That still went over. Looks like I didn't get the range quite right. Let's reduce it a bit. And fire again. There we go. Target. This just serves to show you how difficult this can be. Now imagine this in bad visibility conditions. For example, because there's dust being kicked up by the fighting and smoke and maybe rain or fog or something like that. And you don't have a laser rangefinder, you just have this completely optical system where you have to really take your time and try to get a target to not be blurry. And now imagine doing this while the tank is driving and everything appears blurry. Yeah, you see how this can be incredibly difficult. This tank, this variant that we are driving today, does have at least a stabilized gun. So if I put the gun on the target, it will stay on target. That's good. That's really good. The version that we'll be playing next week in Steel Armor won't have this stabilization, so we will always have to stop to fire the gun. What else is there to talk about? The sight system, well, we have this sight without further magnification. It's just one zoom level basically. We have a backup sight where you don't range with the stereoscopic rangefinder, instead you range with these lines. This is just really a backup sight in case that your primary sight gets disabled. Then we have, of course, our coaxial machine gun, which is set to a stupid range right now. Let's reduce this. There we go. No, not quite. There we go. And then we have, on top of that, we have the Commander's 50 cal that we can use. Let me quickly show you how this works. So the Commander's 50 cal is in this little turret that is on top. I'll turn it to the side so that you can properly admire this. The Commander's cupola can be turned, and it is housing a 50 cal machine gun that is controlled by the Commander remotely, so he doesn't have to stick his head out. He can control it from within the tank, which is really, really nice. And this gun is, or can be, very useful when you are engaging, for example, enemy trucks or something lightly armored like a BRDM. This gun can absolutely mess them up. It's a 50 cal after all. The rounds go straight through thin armor plates. Another drawback of this tank. So let's say that you have the range dialed in incorrectly. Let's say we want to engage this moving target here. We're dialing in the range, this looks good. You still have, if the target is moving from left to right, you still have to estimate by how much you have to lead the target. This looks goodish. Hit. Oh, that was actually good. But again, imagine that while driving. It's really not that easy. This tank, the gunnery is challenging. It can be challenging. For nighttime operations, which we will be doing today, we have this thing here. This is a big infrared lamp, a illuminator. A huge infrared illuminator that is used to illuminate targets downrange so that they can be picked up by the night vision device. The night vision device really needs active illumination. Otherwise, the range at which it can be used is very, very low. And by the way, fun story. The crews of this tank actually used this light to heat up their rations, because apparently this thing gets really, really hot when in use. So they abused it a little bit and used it to heat their rations on top of it. During the daytime the light is covered, so that's why it looks like this. At night the cover is removed and there's just a big lamp beneath this. A big illuminator. Now, that has been a quick overview of this tank as it is in GHPC. Pay attention to how I'm able to use it in GHPC, how its systems are portrayed, and then stand by for next week when we take a look at the M60A1 in Steel Armor Blaze of War, but then a slightly older variant than this one. Alright, let's go into the mission. Welcome to the mission. As you can see, it is dark, without night vision, very dark, and it's also raining, which really doesn't help. With me, I have 3 other M60s, and ahead of us we have a really interesting mission. So, here's the situation. Friendly forces, 1st and 3rd platoon, they are in this village and they are in grave danger. And the enemy is attacking them in great numbers, coming from the north and from the northeast, and they are in danger of being overrun. In fact, the enemy has already taken this ridge line here, which is objective stable, and is threatening the flank of these forces. It is our task to advance, to recapture this ridge line, stabilize the friendly's flank, and help them to survive the enemy's onslaught. So we really have to hurry up here, otherwise these guys in the village are just gonna be overrun by the enemies. Since it is so dark, let me enable my night vision. There we go. And we are off. We are off. My friendlies are using their infrared lights to scan ahead, but you know, I would actually like an option to tell these guys to turn that thing off. Because yeah, okay, you can use it to scan, but there is something... is there? Did I see a light? Let's watch. I'm not sure. There's something out there, we have to be careful. Platoon, formation, echelon right. I'm not too worried about my left flank. That should be friendly territory. The enemy is coming from the north and northeast after all. Let's get ready to repel enemies from the right here, if necessary. Looks like I have to slow down a bit. My tanks are not quite in formation. They have to reorganize themselves. The AI really needs to learn how to use these infrared lights. They should stay off until they think they have acquired or detected the target. Then they should turn them on to acquire the target and shoot, and turn them off immediately afterwards. That would be so much better than what they're doing right now. It does look atmospheric, but it's not really how these things would be used. There's something back there. Yeah, there's something. There's a tank. There's a tank. Guys, turn those lights off. If they have night vision, they can see us too. They have their light on right now. I'm gonna switch on my light now, and there they are. Fire! Hit. They're blinding me. They're blinding me. That's not nice. There's another one. There. Hit, I think. Let's keep going. Yeah, they're not looking this way right now. The turret is off to the side. Well, they're bad. Failed to acquire me in time. Those were solid hits. I think the tank is down. This one is still using the lights. Let's finish it off if I can, so that it stops blinding me. Yeah, that's on fire. Let's make sure that this one is on fire too. Turn off the lights and continue. Platoon formation. We are coming up on this ridge line in front of me. Come into a line formation, please. And I want to restock armor-piercing rounds. I did shoot a lot of them. Okay, everybody's coming into formation. We are restocking. So far, so good. Down there is the village that we are trying to protect. More rounds are being brought into the wreck. Something right in front of me. Oh, cancel restock. No, never mind. They killed it. Is it dead? Let's make sure it's dead. Yeah, that thing's gone. 3rd platoon is reporting a large enemy attack from their north. Move to assist them. Bring another round in. We are moving up. So, a huge attack from the north. Oh, I see something. There. Oh, that's blinding. Reverse. Reverse. Here's what we'll do. I'm not gonna let them blind me. Call in flares into this area. Bring in artillery in front of these guys. And... you know what? Call in fixed wing support too. Let's hit them as much as we can. Let's wait for the flares to arrive. Then we'll come up on the ridge and we'll have an advantage over them. Turn off the night vision. And wait. Flares are gonna arrive soon. There they are. Advance. Artillery is hitting. Where are they? There they are. Tanks in the rear. Let's range. That looks good. Fire! Hit! It's on fire. Next tank! No, that was not good. Re-engage. Hit! We received a hit to my right side, I think. Let's aim at the next tank. Hit! On fire. Let's finish off this one. And then we'll switch to heat shells. Hit! On fire. I hear jets screaming in. Let's start. Yeah, there we go. This PC is shooting at us. Shoot back. That's over. Let's range it properly. There we go. Bombs have been dropped. My god. Oh, what a detonation. That was impressive. I fired a little bit low. Re-engage. Hit. Good hit. It's still alive. Another good hit. Still alive? No, next target. APC advancing here in front of us. Side on. Will do. And there we go. It's dead. Let's finish it off. Dead. More tanks. Switch to armor piercing next. Let me make sure that this BMP over here is dead too. Or this one. This one had put up some resistance. There we go. Is everybody else alright? I lost a tank. And we have enemy tanks somewhere. I just don't know. Oh, there. Enemy tanks on fire. Range that thing. That's good. I fired through the damn tree. Tank hit. Not sure if that hit or not. I need more flares. Thank you very much. Damn it, damn tree. Let's drive forward. Oh, I don't like to drive through the trees here. I have a feeling I'm exposing myself too much here, but it's fine. It's just one tank apparently, I think. That was a good hit. And that was the final one. Now somebody's still shooting at something. Not sure at what. Okay, we have something burning here to my right. What's that just killed? Let's make sure that there was an APC out here. There. Let's make sure that he's there too. Range it carefully. Fire. Kaboom. Nice. Very, very nice. Looks like the enemy attack has been defeated. We are victorious. Let's drive down here. And we'll take a nice look at our speeding tank here against this amazing backdrop. Oh, it's a bit bumpy. the right, but it's fine. Really, really nice scenery ahead of us, isn't it? Really nice scenery indeed. Okay, with that said, oh my god, look at this. Nice. Let's stop our vehicle. And let's turn around and head towards the village. We join friendly forces. And then we'll end the attack together there. Oh, I think artillery might still be impacting here, or is that just... Yeah, okay, let's not go into the village. It's still being hit by artillery. Now what? We'll go back on objective stable. We'll hold position just behind that hill. We are ready to shoot more if more enemies arrive. But I think we're good now. The enemy attack has been broken. And we are gonna take a look at the after action report in just a moment. As soon as I get my little butt behind this hill. Well, actually my big butt. This tank is huge. This tank really is huge. It's almost there. Something is on fire up here. I hope it's not an M60. No, I think there's an M60. But I think this is the BMP that I destroyed earlier. Yeah, here we have the M60 that has been taken out. I hope the crew managed to bail out. We'll see in just a moment. Okay. Let's have a look. Winner, NATO of course. So, personnel lost on NATO side 4. 3 pieces of equipment lost, 39 shots fired. Packed forces, lost 19 personnel, lost 13 pieces of equipment, fired 23 shots. So there has been a lot of shooting in this mission. Let's take a look at things. And by the way, I asked you in the previous episode if you actually like watching this after action stuff. And to my great delight, the majority of you was absolutely in favor of keeping this in this forensic analysis of the battle, and I concur with many of you guys who mentioned that this is one of the things that makes GHPC really unique. The ability to see exactly how the shell penetrated and exactly what kind of damage it did inside the tank. It is really amazing, and I really like taking a look at things from this perspective. So, before we go into this, let's have a quick look at the initial situation here. We are advancing up here. I have positioned my tanks in an echelon right formation, and we are encountering, over there is objective stable just in front of us. Over there is the village that we are supposed to protect. But on our flank we discover 2 enemy tanks. They are up here. Looks like we are dealing with T-55 tanks. Yeah, so there are 2 tanks here on our flank. An enemy screening force basically. Positioned to intercept reinforcements, but we are able to overwhelm them. And we'll now see how we overwhelm them. So I take the first shot. 750 meters, the shell flies straight and true, hits the front of the turret and penetrates the poor T-55A. The gunner and the commander are instantly killed by this. And the round continues into the ammunition in the rear of the turret. So let's see, penetrated, all kinds of things. Did we actually penetrate any propellant casing though? We did. Somewhere along the line propellant casing was hit and penetrated. So this tank is most definitely on fire now. Am I still shooting at the same one? It's difficult to tell in these night missions. Let's have a quick look. This one has the number 311, the first one that I fired at. This one is 312. Okay, so I've switched to a different target. The second one. I spot this, I fire, and I hit basically just the commander's cupola. But that is enough to obliterate the commander's head. So that's gone. Propellant casing is hit in the back of the turret, but it is not penetrated, which is surprising when I see how many fragments went into the rear of the turret there. The rest of the shell just goes out the rear. So this tank is still able to fire. The gunner is alive. It's just the commander who's been killed. But the gunner is disoriented, he doesn't know what's going on, and he turns the gun to the left, thinking that the danger is coming from that direction. Which was the wrong move. I fire, I hit the side of the turret, the round penetrates, and this time I think the gunner gets it. Looks like his hands are basically blown off there. Fragments go into his torso too. And apart from that, the gun breech takes a lot of damage, but some fragments also go into those lovely shells down there. Let's have a quick look. Propellant casing is hit and penetrated, so this tank is now on fire. The surviving crew members, so the loader and the driver. I don't think the gunner is alive at this point. The loader and the driver, they'll be able to get out of here. Just to really be on the safe side though, I fire again. And we can see that indeed the loader and the driver did get out. I fire again, I hit this thing one more time, and the round flies straight into that ammunition, and so this really has to be it for this tank. I'm still not satisfied, or I think the fire really hasn't started yet properly. Or I just couldn't see it in the darkness. So I fire again, hit the side of the turret one more time. Now we are focusing on different things. The situation has changed a little bit, so... Situation is now as follows. We have advanced, those tanks are dead. We have now advanced and are coming up to the top of the ridgeline, where ahead of us we seem to have a BMP. Looks like we have another BMP here, just on the other side of the ridgeline. On our left we now have the friendly forces in the village, and in the distance we can already see the impending doom. The advancing enemy main force. We encounter this poor BMP in front of us. I'm still restocking rounds, so I'm not able to fire. One of my other tanks takes up the slack and fires at just 110 meters. The round goes straight through the side of this poor thing. Looks like the gunner is missing his legs after this hit. Yeah, definitely. But other than that, I think the vehicle is still fine. The rest of the crew decides to bail out, which is very wise of them, and at very close range of just 25 meters, I decide to, yeah, we should totally finish this thing off. I fire a round into the side that goes into all of this lovely ammunition and ignites it. Now, situation has once more changed. We are now on top of this ridgeline. We have started to illuminate this area here, and this is the enemy main force advancing. So what do we have here? We have a platoon of BMP-1s racing towards the village to unload troops. Behind them we have a number of advancing tanks. 3 tanks here, 1 platoon, and another tank platoon here on this side. And I think these guys, they did not in fact advance. I think they have set up here on this ridgeline to provide overwatch. This is where we encounter them later on, I think. But it looks like we are first getting eyes on these BMPs and on this tank platoon in the rear. And keep in mind, they are being illuminated by flares, as you can see. I'm not. We are up here on the hill in complete darkness. So they can't see us, they can't really shoot back. I can see them though. And we take advantage of this. I fire at this T-72 LEM at 1400 meters. My round punches straight through the frontal turret armor. Goes into the fighting compartment, and it looks like the gunner... We do not have a loader in this tank, of course. This tank has an autoloader. But the gunner is not having a great time. His right arm is obliterated. The round continues through the turret, and it looks like continues basically out the turret, out the rear of the turret, and is then stopped by the engine. Awesome hit. Do we hit ammunition though? We do hit a throwing charge, and we also do penetrate propellant casing. Nice. This tank is done. This tank is just done. By the way, some of you might ask, what are these weird things on the T-72s, these plates here on the side? Well, they are quite interesting, in fact. So, the Soviets mounted these things on their tanks at one time, hoping that they would help against heat rounds. You see, a heat round is most destructive when it has direct and good contact with the armor when it detonates. Because a heat round, it basically, in a flash, it melts copper into a jet of copper, basically into a copper dart. That melted copper hardens almost immediately and punches through armor. If you can ignite the heat warhead away from the main armor, then by the time that this copper dart hits the main armor, it will have lost a lot of its destructive power. And there's a really good chance that it won't penetrate. So the goal was basically to have these plates here to protect the weaker side armor against heat warheads. Fired, by example, not just by tanks, but fired by shoulder-launched infantry weapons. That was basically the goal here. So the heat warhead would hit one of these plates, would detonate, ignite, and by the time that the copper reaches the side armor of the tank, it won't have enough force to penetrate into the tank itself. Now, the Soviets later stopped using these things because once the heat warheads became more and more powerful, and once fin-stabilized sabot rounds became prevalent as tank gun main ammunition, well, against a fin-stabilized sabot round, these things don't do anything. A sabot round, a silver dart, will go straight through these things, as if they are not even there. And, well, mounted on a tank like this, well, they are more weight, more complexity, more cost. So at some point they abandoned the idea of these things. But here, by the East German forces, they're actually in use, and it's fun to see the tanks use these things. So, our round impacts the turret front, goes in, and as I said, this tank is done. Let's continue. One of my other tanks spots the enemy BMPs and engages with a heat warhead, hits the tracks, so there's a good chance that this thing is stopped dead in its tracks now. But other than that, not too much damage is done. No, the oil reservoir is hit, so oh, he will be losing oil. Ooh. I'm sure he'll make it to the village over there if we let him. I fire at something. I think I continue to engage the 3 enemy tanks. Yeah, I do. But I just missed the turret. Just barely. One of my tanks engages this BMP here. Is it the same one? Let me check really quick. No, it's not the same one. It's the one over there that gets engaged next. The heat warhead is a devastating hit, impacting just in front of the driver here. The heat fragments spread through the vehicle, shred the driver, shred the commander behind him, and I guess get to the gunner as well, and just do all kinds of damage. This thing is done. Oh, and this is where one of my tanks is hit. Yeah. Looks like the enemy tanks that are the screening force, they fire at this tank. And they hit and they penetrate. At 1179 meters, the round... well, it is an unlucky hit here. The lower edge of the turret armor there. Penetrates straight through, kills the gunner, maims the commander, goes into the rear of the turret and hits all that ammunition. Propellant casing is hit but not penetrated, thankfully. So my guess is that the loader, who has also been wounded in his leg and his arm, and the driver, I think they are both able to get out. I continue to shoot. I fire at the advancing T-72s down here. Is it the same one that I hit, by the way? Let me just check really quick. Which one did I hit here? Yeah, this is the same one. I re-engaged this one that I missed. Okay, that's what's going on. This time I hit it though. And I hit the coax. I hit just next to the coax there. Oh wow, that's a lucky hit. The round goes straight through. You see that just a little bit of the round and the armor splatters off into the gun breech there. But other than that, the rest of the round basically stays intact, punches straight through the turret, and then punches into the engine in the rear. I don't think that this tank is done. None of the crew are wounded. The gun breech is damaged, but I don't think too badly. And no ammunition is hit. Yeah, propellant casing is hit somewhere, okay, but not penetrated. I follow up on the third tank. Yeah, I leave this one alone for now. And I shoot at the next one. I assume that this one has been hit hard, but actually it hasn't been hit too hard at this point. Now I focus on this one, because its gun barrel is swinging in my direction. I hit, good hit into the turret front, penetrate into the gun breech, and I don't think that this tank is able to fire after this brutal hit to the gun breech. The commander is hit too. Looks like his arm is severely hit and his torso too a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's still alive. Was any propellant casing hit? Yes, but not penetrated. We've returned back to this tank that I left alone for a moment. I fire again, a good hit. I penetrate through the frontal armor, and this time the hit goes down into the ammunition carousel. Propellant casing is hit and penetrated. And I think that shortly after this tank detonates in a huge explosion. I think when the bombs arrive. I'm curious to see if we'll see those. My tanks next to me are shooting at somebody. Currently the flare has burned out. I think they are engaging... Yeah, they're engaging the screening force here. The Overwatch force. With a heat warhead, the tank is hit, but the heat warhead is actually stopped by the turret armor. The impact angle wasn't great. I fire a heat warhead. I'm trying to hit this BMP, but I miss horribly. Now we see the bombs. Yeah, okay, that's the bombs arriving. Oh boy. And one bomb lands right next to this tank. And I think this tank at this point is just blown sky high. Let's continue the engagement. One of my tanks continues to engage the enemy Overwatch force. Good solid hit into the turret of this tank. Penetrates through, goes inside. The gunner is wounded. His right arm is basically taken off. A warhead is hit, but not detonated. No propellant casing hits. Huh. I think the tank, apart from the gunner being wounded, is still okay. I take a shot at the BMP again, but I fire just a little bit too low and my heat warhead passes below the target. One of the T-72s engages the friendly forces in the village. This M113 gets it. Main gun hit, AP hit right to the driver's face basically. He's taken out and the rest of the round smashes through the whole vehicle, exits out the rear, smashes through this house, and flies off into the dirt beyond. Armor-piercing rounds are so destructive. The M60, or one of my M60s on the hill, engages the leftmost tank of the Overwatch force, hits the side of the turret, penetrates through, kills the gunner, wounds the commander, and hits all that lovely ammunition. Propellant casing hit, propellant casing penetrated, tank on fire. And indeed, I think by the time that I came up to engage these tanks, I think only the one in the middle was still alive. Left and right of it were burning husks. But at this point I'm still busy with the BMPs. I fire at this thing here again, this time I hit it. Looks like driver and commander are having a terrible time. Gunner's arm is hit too. So everybody's having a really bad time, and I would not be surprised to see the gunner bail out now. Ah, no, he's stubborn. Or already dead, I'm not sure. I hit again, the heat warhead penetrates, but there's no ammunition for us to hit here. Is it the same one, or do I focus a different one now? Wait, that's a good question. Ah, no, that's a different one. There's this one driving ahead of the others, being side on to me, and I fired down at it. Looks like I hit a road wheel, but other than that I'm not doing any damage. I fire again, and well, not a great hit either, but I would say that the infantry riding in the back is having the worst of times. Oh, absolutely. Still, there's a T-72 still alive on Overwatch, and he looks to finish off this M113, hitting it with a heat shell. The gunner is still okay though. The engine takes the damage. And I now finish off this BMP down here. Yeah, the gunner has bailed out. Everybody has bailed out. I think they were all still alive. Yeah, they all bailed out. I hit the side of the vehicle now, and this time it's a good hit that goes through all that ammunition, so this thing is done. The T-72 though is not done with the M113. Another heat shell, and this time the gunner gets it. The copper dart takes his leg off. What do we have here? Artillery. Artillery shells impacting the already killed tanks on the left side. Looks like 2 of them have tossed their turrets. Or as I should say, no, all 3 of them have actually handed in their application for the Soviet space program. They reached great heights. Now I am once again focusing on the enemy BMPs. I'm still not sure if this one is finished off or not, but as we can see now, yeah, the gunner has bailed out. I hit it again, I hit it good. But do I hit ammunition? Do I hit anything that's gonna cause a fire? I don't think so. Still, looks like we are switching our attention to the last remaining enemy tank here. I fire, I hit the turret, I penetrate, and the gun breach is just... it just takes all the damage. So I would not be surprised if this thing is now incapable of shooting any longer. Everybody else inside the tank is fine. We are really aiming to change that, literally. I hit the front of the turret again, we penetrate, and this time the commander gets a fragment right through his torso. Right through his lung, I guess, yeah. Hit the lung. So he is maybe dead, or at least severely wounded. Everybody else still has time to bail out. We fire again, and it looks like I actually miss. Yeah, I fire high here. I miss because I clipped the tree. What the hell was this? By the way, this miss, was it because of the tree? No. But this one is. I fire, and I just hit the edge of the tree and the round is deflected off to the side, far away from the enemy tanks. Nice to see that there's a deflection actually. Huh? Oh yeah, there was another BMP here on the reverse side of the ridgeline, and it is now trying to drive away, to retreat. And it does so right in front of one of my tanks. He takes the opportunity to put a dart right through the commander's ass. It goes right the other side, but I think that everybody else is taking this as a sign to bail out. I continue to engage the tank here in the middle. I fire, I hit the turret, I basically hit the gun breech. But this time we also do hit some propellant casing, but it is not penetrated. The commander is now losing his left arm. Guys, you should bail out. Okay, the tank here finishes off the BMP, puts a heat shell right into the side, and a lot of those fragments go into the ammunition, so this thing is now dead. And I fire a final shot at this poor BMP down here, just to see it burn. Goes in, smashes through the ammunition. And at this point, let me just verify. Yeah, the crew from the central tank here has bailed out. Everybody has bailed out. They're all alive. Good for them. And that was this awesome little mission. I really did enjoy playing this. I really did. And I hope that you have enjoyed watching it, and I do hope that you are looking forward to next week's episode, when we will take a look at the M60A1 in Steel Armor Blaze of War, in a really interesting mission. You can really look forward to that. So let me know in the comments what you think of today's mission, what you think of the M60 in general. I think it's a really good tank. It's no surprise that it has been in service for so long. It is a good tank. Now, with that all said, once again, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again next time. Until then, have some really great days and goodbye.